Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing? There, that's better. I hope everybody had a good weekend. We definitely did here down at the homestead, and so it was awesome. Just to give you a heads up, and I'll mention it again later in the stream, I will be live streaming on Wednesday at 6 o'clock. I'll be doing a live stream for my hardcore members, and at 8 o'clock, I'll do a regular live stream for everyone else. So, just putting it out there, you know, what happened here? What happened, JJ? What did I miss? I missed something. You're talking to somebody about something. What happened? Yeah, the Cowboys suck. They have no run game. No run game at all. So, yeah, not good. They're 3-0 on the road and they're about to be 0-3 at home. I mean, you can't, I don't know. I just none of it makes sense. So, obviously this doesn't look like it's going to be the Cowboys year. So, anyhow, two people that I know remodeled their homes were killed instantly by a tornado. Oh wow, that sucks, man. That's crazy. That is crazy. I'm sorry to hear that. That's not good. Um, so anyway, so anyway, we had a great weekend here. Got a lot accomplished. Things are coming together, which is good. You'll see the upcoming videos. They'll be coming up over the next several days, and we'll be sharing all that with you. But yeah, I'm going to be doing another update on Jimmy's place because he's been working on stuff as well. So I'll share all that with you. So that'll be another, you know, another update coming up there. But all right, so we're going to talk about lessons that we have learned from these two hurricanes. Okay, and some people will never learn these lessons, and that's a fact. Um, I'm going to go back to what I call my wake up moment. Okay. And Hurricane Katrina had happened in 2005. And I've always had a stock pantry. That's what I grew up with my grandparents, and they were Depression era. So I always had a stocked pantry, which I just thought it was smart to do. And so I've always done that. Well, so when Hurricane Katrina happened, and I saw the government's response to that situation and how that all played out, very concerning, very, very concerning. And I was like, you know what? I never want to rely on the government in an emergency situation. At the time, the twins were 4, Josh was 10. You know, my wife was a stay at home mom. And so that started my journey of preparedness. And now here we are where we're at now. Um, the lessons that we've learned from this type of situation is once probably the biggest lesson I think anybody's going to learn from this situation is that we can't rely on the government. We need to rely on ourselves. Uh, that's, and we're going to talk about some things with that whole situation that's being put out there and all that type of thing. But before we jump into all that, I want to remind everybody this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. And so let's keep it clean. If you can't, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches are going to boot you out of here. Hey, 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 what are you doing? Also, if you have any questions or something that you want to stand out to me, all cap locks, please, so I see it better and like that. And well, JJ, they're not giving them $750. That is a loan. That is a loan. So FEMA is not giving people $750. They're loaning that money to them, and they have to repay that. I have a whole issue with all kinds of stuff. When you are Now, this is one that I heard, and I can't confirm or deny this, but this is one that I heard that FEMA dropped off a bunch of electric chainsaws to people to utilize to cut up the trees. Well, if you can't plug in these stupid electric chainsaws, how are they going to run? So that makes excuse me, that makes no sense whatsoever. Unrealistic expectations once again from that. Now I also did heard, yeah, and if they don't pay the loan, they take their property. I heard that too, Sonia. Um, the other thing that that all a tremendous amount of people have come together, donated supplies, um, you know, going down, taking supplies, and that FEMA was confiscating different things, that were people were bringing down to help people, which that's disgusting to me. They don't have that right to confiscate stuff and say, yeah, we'll distribute it. You know, I know there was a lot of there was a store. This one I did here as well, and a lot of people had private helicopters. Okay, and they were taking supplies into people that could not be accessed by the roads. Okay, because the roads are gone. They're gone. Okay, um, so they had to fly. They were flying these helicopters, and this guy had a car dealership, I guess, with a big open field, and he was letting these helicopters land there. They were loading them up, taking supplies in, coming back. Well, the FAA or whoever it is said they were unauthorized to do so, and they couldn't do that. And it's ridiculous when you have a situation where people are in need, and that are suffering. They should be doing everything they possibly could. They should be thanking private citizens for stepping up and trying to help those people in need. It is amazing how quickly the government can screw stuff up that the average citizen could go and take care of and get stuff squared away. So I have a huge problem with that type of stuff as well. And again, do I know with 100% certainty that these things that I just shared with you are true? I do not. The local sheriff threatened to arrest that guy. Really, Jay? That's crazy. That is crazy. And again, why would they want? Pinbell went over and above, and so did Patera, and they are true. Ed. Hey, 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 hey. Um, so yeah, I know Pinball did. I didn't know about Patera. I know, but that's awesome that they were able to do that, and to be a big part of helping the community out. I want you guys to think about this, okay? And this is one of the things that I know, I see. Thank you. Thank you for the lick. You're a good girl. Yes, you're doing your job, and you're a good girl. Um, this is what I want you guys to think about, all right? This is really, really important. What happens in a true SHTF situation, right? I want you to think about this because this is why do I encourage people to prepare? Why do I encourage people to be ready for whatever may happen? Because we just don't know, right? We don't know what could happen. So the more ready you are, the better off you're going to be. What happens the day when a true end of the world as we know it event happens and there's no one coming to help? There's no one coming to help, right? There's no bunch of people coming together to bring in supplies. You're on your own. Like those people in the mountains there where everything got washed out and stuff like that, you're going to be on your own. There's nobody coming to help you in a true SHTF situation. So you need to think about those things and prepare accordingly. Again, location, location, location is important. You want to live by the river? Knock yourself out. I don't want to live by the river because at some point that river will flood. That's a fact. Okay, that is a fact. So I heard that some got beat up by locals for doing that thing. It could be that it could be. You never know. But also, I want to share with you this too. Now, these are again rumors that are coming out right in the Asheville area. A lot of people were cut off within sight of 3 days. They were fighting over limited supplies, and people were angry, and and all those type of stuff. Why? They were unprepared. There was nothing coming in that they, at that immediate point that they could do. They had no power. Um, it can be a huge, terrible situation, right? But if you are ready for those type of situations, you're going to deal with that better. I know somebody had talked about, what happened if there was that kind of flooding here, because these people were in the mountains as well, right? But the people that were in the mountains where the river, it's a river up there. Okay, I've been up to Chimney Rock, in the Asheville area. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful area, but it has a river. All right, I got streams. Okay, in my streams, if my streams flood, it's 400 feet down the mountain where the stream is. So if I end up getting water up this high, I'm going to need the ark. Okay, that's what I'm going to need. I'm not going to need other than anything else than that. So, and I know several people that are still without power. Oh, I believe it, Delbert. They're going to have to rebuild those roads. They got to do a lot of things up there, and it's going to take time, and it's going to cost a lot of money. But where you pick where you want to be, you have to think about that. If I lived in an area that upstream had a big old dam, there is no guarantee that that dam is going to hold that water forever, folks. There's no guarantee of that. Um, you know, Dams are going to fail. They've failed before. Eventually, that and if it's a true SHTF situation, who's monitoring the dams? Who's letting water out? Making sure everything's copacetic. So you have to think about these things when you're picking your location of where you want to be, where you want to live, where you want to build. Um, you know, where I'm at here, I picked this area very strategically. I wanted to own the high ground. I own the high ground. You know, um, I'm only at, I think, 2,700 feet elevation above sea level, but that's high enough. I mean, if you saw driving in here the way you got to come in here, it's not an easy access area. So sparsely populated. I picked that for a reason as well. I mean, in the entire state of West Virginia, I think there's 1.7 million people. So everybody talks about the golden horde coming out of the cities, and this golden horde, that's a fantasy. All right. People are going to stay where it's familiar. They're not going to venture far beyond where it's familiar. And by the time the people in the cities realize they need to get out of those cities, if they haven't done so already, they're never getting out of those cities. So they're not driving out. It'll be gridlock. One accident, boom, stops the traffic. Nobody's going anywhere. Because these people are not going to come together and go, "Hey, we need to move these cars out of the way so we can keep going." What was that? Oh, okay. They're not going to do that. So it's just, there's so much to it, folks. And again, if you put yourself in a situation to be able to be ready for whatever may happen, you're going to be in a better situation. But location is very important where you are. I mean, like if you live in the middle of the desert, now that could have its strategic advantages and it can have its disadvantages. One of those things that's a disadvantage is no water. So how are you collecting water? I know like in Arizona, they have monsoon season. There's a channel that they have a huge collection system set up because they get their water for the year from the monsoon rains. So they got all this roof space and it's going in, feeding into a cistern, and they got tanks, and that's smart, but most people don't have that. They're not prepared in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if you have flooding with all the crap that's in that water, you're not drinking that water. You're not. So you could be surrounded by water, but there's no potable water. There's no water that you're able to drink because it's not safe to drink because of chemicals and dead animals and whatever else is in that water. You're not going to be able to do that. Ed, you did great with your location. Yes, West Virginia has one major college town, but that's near the southern central Pennsylvania. Yeah, yeah, that's right near the top. Um, you know, up there. So yeah, it's and that's the only really, there's not huge cities, in West Virginia. So, uh, you know, but anyway, it just, will people learn the lessons from these events? The majority will not, because as soon as they get their power on, they're going to go back to living their lives like they've always lived them and act like nothing ever happened, and those type of stuff. Florida published a chart for Milton clearly stating that you need to be prepared for food, water, medicine, etc., for at least 7 days. And then it outlined 7 to 14, 14 to 28. It was very clear, right? And people should be doing that, and you don't have to do it all at once. And that's the thing too. I tried to explain. I did a series. One of the series that I have here on my channel is about prepping on $10 a week. You know, so I'm showing you, yes, you can do this on a very small scale, and it can add up really quickly the amount of food that you have. So, but natural disasters are going to continue to happen, folks. It's not like they're going to go away anytime soon. The only difference between a natural disaster now and a natural disaster after a true SHTF event is there's not going to be any early warning. You're not going to know it's coming, right? If there's forest fires, the only way you're going to know that they're coming is because they're burning and they're coming towards you. You know, if there's flooding, you're not going to know until that rain is coming down and it's a torrential rain and everything's filling up. There's not going to be the warnings that you need to be doing something to prepare. You should already be doing those things, especially if you live in areas that are prone to flooding. I mean, it's great to live on the ocean, right? And it's wonderful. But, if you live in Florida or Louisiana, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and those areas along the coast, there is a possibility that a hurricane will come at some point and destroy everything in that area. It's beautiful down there, and I love to go and visit. I been up and down the East Coast a ton throughout my life, and that's great. Would I want to live on the ocean full time? No, not. You couldn't give me a place to live on the ocean full time. First of all, way too many people in certain areas, way too many people, and I don't want to be around a bunch of unprepared people when that time comes. So those are things that people really don't think about. The reaction of the government is another great example. You know, Ed, most people today think too much about luxury rather than survival. So we're going to talk about that too a little bit, JJ, because I want to make a point with that, and I like the way you put that. And you're right; you're 100% right. They want all the bells and whistles, and they don't want to do any preparedness. But there's a point I want to make with that, and there's a difference between surviving and thriving. We actually had me and Bud had a conversation about this today. When SHTF happens, and I do believe, folks, it is a matter of when, not if. When SHTF does happen, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. I want it. Realistically, for me, this is what changes. SHTF happens tomorrow. End of the world as we know it, never going back to the way it is. If that happened tomorrow, the only thing that changes for me is I don't have to go to work no more. Maybe no internet, maybe no cell phone, right? Other than that, my life really doesn't change. Or going out to the grocery store, obviously, or going and getting fast food or whatever, stuff like that. You're going to have what you have. And that is why we prepare. That's why we do what we do, because we want to be in a situation where we go, okay, it's happened, not cool, but we're going to deal with it. And so, because I live here full time and I've been living off grid now for 10 years, this is how I live. So, when everybody else's power around here went out because of Hurricane Helena, right? I still had power. I was still able to come in, turn the lights on, do what I needed to do. There was people that were out power for quite a while, and they had to deal with that. Now, locally, people have generators and stuff like that. That's great. But you live in the city, How many people in the cities got generators? How many people in suburbia realistically have generators? And again, when was the last time you started it? Are you doing any maintenance on it? Are you making sure that they're working and all that type of stuff and they're in good working order? A lot of people don't. It's just sitting in the garage. And then when an emergency happens, they go out there and they try to fire it up and they think, well, why isn't it working? You have to, and again, I've told you guys, learn from my mistakes. I came down here the first year. Oh, I just got a notification today, too. I wanted to share this with you, and I thought this was awesome on Facebook. 3 years ago today, I had the camper on my truck getting ready to come down here to West Virginia. It was 3 years ago today. And I was like, look at that. That is pretty wild, that they showed that and see if I wanted to share that memory, which I didn't repost it. But it was 3 years ago today that we left out. Me and Dennis came down here to put the camper on site. So that is amazing. And, look what we've got done. And basically, that first year, 3 years ago, we brought the camper down, we got it set up, packed everything back up, went to New York, and I spent that winter in New York. It was the following April. So, like next April will be when I started coming down here. The first year, I did 3 weeks down here, a week in New York. And I did that for the entire year. And then that November was when I moved down here full time. So, yeah, pretty wild how fast time flies. Looking at what we've gotten accomplished here never ceases to amaze me, to be honest with you. But you know, there's a lot of problems with our country. That goes without saying, and I think people realize that. Okay, but at the same time, we have a lot more freedoms than most people do. Now, there's issues, like I said, it goes without saying. What do we got? 280 in the chat, guys. We got 92 thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. And thank you very much for doing so. It really makes a huge difference with the algorithms as well. So the more interaction, the better for the channel. So I thank you for doing it that reason as well. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. So thank you very much for that. I am trying to teach people to be ready, showing them also that, yes, you can have a group of people that come together, to work together, that are like-minded, that have the mindset of, when things go bad, we come together and we support each other, and we're, working together to make sure that we survive long term. It's huge, so but anyhow, again, that's what I'm trying to share. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I'm not going, hey, you got to buy this shiny product that I got. This is the best thing going since sliced toast. I really don't do that. If there's a product that I have used that I like, I will recommend it. Like the Legacy freeze dried food, I do like that, and I think it's a good product. So, but my goal realistically is to wake more people up. If I wake up one person a month, that's 12 less victims down the road, which can now take care of their families, that are ready for whatever may happen. And who knows if they can make a difference with, excuse me, if they can make a difference by waking more people up. You know what I mean? And those things, I think it's really, really, really important. So it's all about, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But I try to, I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. So, that's my biggest thing, you know. Mark said, I did buy some Legacy because of you. Well, I appreciate that. It's definitely a good product. There's a lot of other products out there that I would highly recommend as well. So, you know, but like I've talked for how long, saying, learn gardening, get your gardens in, get them prepped up, get them ready. So there's a lot that we can do to prepare to be ready, but that long-term survival, there has to be a plan. You better have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, you may not make it too long. Because eventually, all your supply. I love when people would say to me, "Well, eventually your supplies will run out." You're right, they will eventually. But if I can incorporate whatever I can gather, collect, harvest, grow, raising livestock, whatever the case may be, if I can incorporate that in with my food storage, now that food storage lasts longer, and that's what you're looking for. And eventually, yes, that food will run out, but that food that you are putting away is a stopgap to get you through until excuse me, until you can harvest again, until you can get out there and do what you need to do. But again, you look at the situation with these hurricanes, and the government seems to over and over and over again trip over its own feet. You know, hey, yet I watched Jerry Jones after the Cowboy games. He reminded me of watching Joe decline. Do you think he will let his son take over the team? At some point, I mean, a guy's what, 80 or 82 years old. I don't know. They got to do something though, because obviously they're not doing well. So, uh, so but again, it's all about being as ready as you can be, planning out, sacrificing in the short term for the long term goal, and I think that that is important as well. So but again, things are going to happen. Life events are going to happen. People are going to pass. They're going to die. I know you guys know, and I talked about it. We lost Ronnie. Ronnie was one of, he'd come down here originally, helped build the battery room, um, you know, and, was an integral part of everything that we have done here, building the pavilion and all that type of stuff. And Hell is good. I don't know if she's pregnant or not, to be honest with you. Going to need some more time to see if she starts fattening up or not. But I'm hoping. Are you worried about the majority of your tribe being old? No, I'm not. Uh, Tom, and I'll tell you why I'm not worried about that. Uh, you know, there will be a lot of young people that need guidance and help when the time comes. So we will incorporate who we need to incorporate when that time comes. There are kids in the group. You generally don't see them, but there are people that have children, and yeah, the majority of the people in the group are older, and that's okay. But when the time comes, there's going to be a lot of orphans that are going to need somebody to step up that's not going to abuse them either sexually or physically, that will be very happy to have somebody take them in and feed them and take care of them. So that is uh, I'm sure most of the people were not expecting such devastation that far inland from a hurricane. You're right. You're absolutely right. That was very much a surprise for a lot of people. And I've heard a lot of the conspiracy theories about that whole situation. And I don't know if it's true or not, but excuse me. Again, there with age comes wisdom, right? With age comes wisdom. You hope, I should say, not always in every case, but being in a situation where we could take kids in, to help them to bring, and then kids are pliable, folks. They will adjust way better than adults will to an off-grid situation. They will adjust very, very quickly, especially the young that won't remember. And I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a lot of kids out there that are going to need help. They're going to need people that are going to be decent to them and that are not going to abuse them. And they will remember, you know, that, and you will have loyal people because of that. And I think that that's important. So, but, that's, how do you replenish your ranks, right? There's a way you replenish your ranks right there. And, it might take 10, 15 years for them to get bigger and stronger. But if they don't remember nothing but living off grid and, and surviving and doing what they have to do, you're going to get some very strong people because of that. So, you know, and we have a bunch of neighbors around here, and I think people would actually work together. But it's a different mindset in the country as opposed to the cities and suburbia. So that's a huge advantage just in itself as well, because I think it's important that you incorporate your neighbors. Like right now, a lot of my neighbors, they hunt and they can and they grow, have gardens, and they have, livestock and all that type of stuff, which is great, right? That's awesome. When the time comes, conversations will be had, you know, that it's in all of our best interest if we work together, and with us having a group here, and I've talked to my neighbors, some of them, and I said, our goal is not to, take over and put people under heel. That's not our goal at all. Our goal is to, if you need help, we want to be able to try to help you. Bartering is going to be huge. So if I have a neighbor that has sheep, which I have neighbors that have sheep, okay, and we need wool because now we got to make clothes. We're not going to Walmart to go pick up the new pair of shoes or clothes or whatever the case may be. There's a bunch of cows out through here too. So now with cows, you're looking at the hides. The hides can be made into clothes as well, and then you got the meat. So bartering is going to be a big aspect of things when the time comes. And so, I think about those things. But again, so here, selfish reasons too. And I will explain selfish reasons, right? So we're back here in the woods and up on the main road, right? Which is about, almost a mile away. I have neighbors up there. Well, if we can work with those neighbors, right, and help each other out, they're another layer of protection, because most likely, would we get attacked first or would they get attacked first? That's another aspect of it. Now, would we send people to help if we could? Yes, we would. Okay. If my neighbor got on a walkie and said, "Hey, we're under attack, could you come and help us?" We're not sending everybody, because that leaves you weak at home. You got to keep here strong. But if I can, say, "Okay, yeah, we're going to send some guys to help you," that's what we'll do. We'll try to watch out for each other. And I think out in this area, you'll see a lot of that happening. Again, when I say that I picked where I'm at very strategically, folks, I picked it for a lot of different reasons. Access to water, number one. Even though every year we got a 2, 3 month period where we get very little rain, but so how do we counteract that, right? We're putting in rain catchment everywhere on this property. So if all those totes are full of water and we have, 5 or 6 thousand gallons of water available to us. Actually, let me just try to do a rough estimate and I'll tell you, and we're actually have more, but we're going to go with a guess here. We'll just, okay. So minimally we have 22 275 gallon totes here. All right, there's actually more than that, but just that alone, that's 6,000 gallons of water if they're all full. All right, that's a lot of water. Now a larger group, you're going to need more water. So would we be utilizing the creeks and the streams and that as well? Absolutely we would. But we and I have the springs, and that one spring, you'll see coming up, thing's full. There's like, 6 to 7 feet of water in that spring. So, that's an important aspect of what we're doing as well. So it's all about, like I said, just doing what you can, being as ready as you can be, and taking care of your business. And you know I've said this many, many times to you guys. What is our goal as a group? SHTF happens. What are we doing? We're coming here. We're hunkering down. We're going to let the world eat each other if they can. And if somebody comes here with bad intentions, we will deal with it then. We're not looking to take over. If I have conversations with my neighbors and we can work together and we can barter something, then that's great. I'll give you a good example of something that will be worth its weight in gold in a true SHTF situation, and that's antibiotics. If I have antibiotics and you don't, and you have somebody that needs antibiotics because of an infection or whatever, what are you going to give me? What is that worth to you? Right? What is that worth to you? So again, you know, being able to be in a position to be able to help, but also to benefit your group, that's just smart. It's just smart, you know. And so, most of our Western North Carolina mountains know they can be reached by flooding rain due to hurricanes. It just happened a few years ago with Hurricane Michael. Okay. Actually, you still can. You can get them ordered online. You can still order them online, but you know, uh, there's options out there. You do what you got to do, and yeah, the Jay's case, you can get the antibiotics that way. There's always options of what you can do to get antibiotics. So I think that that's an important aspect of it all. And just like I said again, it's about preparedness, folks. What are you willing to do? How do you want things to look on that other side? Um, SHTF again doesn't have to be the end of the world situation. Right now, what's happened in Asheville area and Chimney Rock and that area, that's an SHTF situation for those folks there. When you see your house floating down the river, right? That's a problem. That's a problem. I also have a huge problem with never ending money for Ukraine. What would 60 billion plus so far or more? I don't even know what the real number is, but it's way more than it should be. When we're paying the salaries and the retirements um, plans for teachers and doctors and all that, 280 billion. Yeah, okay. I knew it was a lot. I didn't know for sure what it was. Um, Ed, when your internet was down for a couple days, was that difficult to adjust without? Not really. I mean, I couldn't get online to make videos, so that was just irritating. But I still had the use of my phone, so I did a few shorts. But I just kept doing what I had to do, and I just couldn't get online. That was, it was a, unfortunate thing. We're giving, billions to Israel. We've given billions in aid to the Gaza Strip. We keep giving money to everybody else, but then when there's an emergency that happens in the United States, they want to give these people a $750 loan. Really? Really? That's not what we should be about, folks. As a country, we should be taking care of our people first. That's what should come first. Oh, and don't even get me started on illegal immigrants, right? If there wasn't work for them here, I want you to listen to me when I say this. If there wasn't work for them here, they wouldn't be here. So, who is getting the advantage of cheap labor coming across the border to work for them, right? Think about that. Follow the money, always follow the money. Who's going to benefit? When you have companies that they're incentive laden to hire a certain percentage of these illegals to get, um, you know, kickbacks from the government, that's an issue. Okay, that's an issue. When you have big business is going to benefit, this meat packing plant or this poultry plant, we get these people in here that are illegal immigrants, right? They're going to work themselves to death. But I want you to remember what a lot of them do, right? People go, oh, working age, fighting age men. Well, what they're doing is they're coming here, you know, working, all living. You got 10, 15 guys all living in the same house. Your expenses are next to nothing. They're taking that money and they're shipping it back down. Why do you think it got so expensive to transfer money from one place to another? I'll give you a good example of that. We had somebody had did Western Union and sent money down here. All right. And the first time they did it, it was like, I don't know, it was over $1,000 and it cost them like 20 dollars, something like that. The second time they went to do that, right? The second time they went to transfer money down here, Now all of a sudden it was like $175 to transfer XYZ amount of money down here. Why is that? Who's taking advantage of that? Why is that available? It's because when you have all these illegals here and they're saving and sending most of their money back down to those South American countries where their families are. And if they work here for 1, 2, 3 years and make a whole bunch of money, um, and I heard in order to receive that loan, you must sign paperwork that if you can't pay it back, they put a lien on your property. Yeah, there was talk about that they could seize your property. But so anyway, that's what they're doing, and then they go back down eventually, and they live like a freaking king because the expenses down there are a lot less, so they can come up here, and they're okay because, like I said, they're all living in the same house, they're all making a ton of money. So but it is what it is. That's what's happening, and pay attention. Like I said, pay attention when you see Western Union fee for transferring money go from this point to here. You go, why is that? What's happening? Why all of a sudden this huge increase? And you put one and one together, it ends up equaling two. So um, you know. But anyway, like I said, we'll see what happens. Now, are there bad actors coming across that southern border that have bad intentions for the United States? It wouldn't surprise me. I can't say without with no definition of proof that yes, 100% they're coming across. But the reality is they have caught a lot of people at the border trying to come in that were on watch lists that they don't, do not let into the United States. How many got through that didn't get caught? That's a question, right? And where are they now and what are they doing and what is their intentions? Always something to think about. Always something to think about. But anyway, you know, all we can do realistically is try to control what we can control. And that's what I'm always going to encourage you to do. SHTF can come in many forms. Again, the CEO of Western Union makes 9.97 million a year. Well, he deserves it, Don. Don't you know that? And that's what kills me too with that. How are these people getting that kind of a salary? Jamie Dimon comes to mind, guys. I mean, look at Jamie Dimon's been in charge what since 2001, and what kind of money and incentives and that golden umbrella, and if they kick these CEOs out, unlike you and I, when you're working and they decide they no longer need your services, there is no severance package. We don't get a severance package. We get shown the door, you know. And here's something else with that. I want to bring this up as well. So we get shown the door. These CEOs negotiate a severance package that if you get rid of me, I get this, 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 and this, and this. So they don't care. They don't care. Yeah, okay. So I have this big pile of money, and it's crazy. It's crazy. But Diamond is worth 2.4 billion. It wouldn't shock me. That wouldn't shock me at all. So yeah, I destroyed your company. Now give me 150 million. And you know what? You know what comes to mind with that? Kodak up in the Rochester area, Xerox up in the Rochester area. They were great companies. They were great places to work for. They're a shell of what they used to be. Piss poor management, bad decisions. I don't know if you guys knew this, and because I'm from the Rochester area, I knew this. You know, Kodak made film, right? So the guys that created the digital, right, so that you could do it that way, they went to Kodak first because Kodak was the big one. They were the big company, right? So they went to Kodak and said, "Hey, we have this," and Kodak said, "Nope." And look what happened as a result. I mean, terrible. Obviously, a bad decision. Other companies said, "Yeah, we'll do that," and look where it went. So, but craziness, absolute craziness. Excuse me. So anyway, we are going to do egg count. Before we start that though, so don't put any guesses in yet. We got 100 or 272 people in the chat. We got 162 thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. I thank you ahead of time. It also, again, really does make a huge difference with the algorithm. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. Okay, starting right now. How many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Betty White. So I'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses in, and we will go from there. But so we got the chicken coop for the chickens all put back together. Paul and Barbara took care of that. So that's all back together. So we'll be ready for them. I put wood chips down in the bottom. They got it. I'll show you when I'll do a video about all that. But I'll show you guys. And as we get colder, I'm going to end up putting plastic around all the bottom of the excuse me, of the chicken run, so that they can stay warmer when we hit the colder weather. So, all right. If you had the same exact guess as Dale from Ohio, he was the first one with the correct guess, which is 4 eggs today. And yes, for Miss Betty White. Congratulations to Dale. You've won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it. So there we go. But the person that guessed ahead of time, let me just go back here, that jumped the gun, which did have the right answer, but it didn't count. Let's see. That would have been All Seeing Cats. So, but unfortunately, it wasn't when I said start. So you missed out by that much. Yes, and DJ did have the right answer as well, but Dale got him before he had the right answer. DJ's won enough, but Dawn said, I thought you were going to say DJ for a second. Well, Dale from Ohio's won before as well. I know that. He's won before, but nobody's won as much as DJ. DJ's won more than anybody else. But you look at the situation again, going back to, the hurricanes and the damage and the death toll, which is not even completely accurate yet. They don't know exactly what the number is going to be because, they haven't found all the bodies and there's still people missing, and it's devastating. But, the government's response, relying on the government, folks, is not the way to be. You need to rely on yourselves and be as prepared as you possibly can be. That's important. That is important. One of the things I was going to say too, and I want you to think about this, okay? You look how we have places all over the property in different locations, right? If something happened in one location and we lost a building, we have other buildings. So that, you have to look at it from that perspective too. Do we have other options at that point? If you have everything clustered together like this and it catches on fire, right? And there's a big fire and it's all gone, now you got nothing. But if you're spread out enough, if one building, unfortunately were to catch on fire, you lose that building. You don't lose everything. And so that is important as well. Something to think about, something to, again, there's a lot that goes, do you believe they will shut down the poll count late at night before continuing to count? You know what? I really don't know what they're going to do, to be honest with you. Hopefully, they'll be able to call the election way before, super late. Hopefully there'll be enough. I honestly, again, I'm just giving you my opinion. All right. I think Trump wins this thing in a landslide. I think people are sick of the status quo. I think they're sick of this current government. I think people are sick and tired of being told how wonderful the economy is doing. But then when they walk into the grocery store or when they go to get gas in their vehicle, they're having to pinch pennies. There is no discretionary money available to do extra things because gas prices are so high, and because the grocery store is, you know, it's where it's at. Yeah, I'm not going to say that on the channel, JJ, but it wouldn't shock me. I'll put it like that. But I just think that we need something better. And I just saw a video the other day, and this I thought was funny. I thought this was funny. So under Trump, the economy did very, very well. Unemployment was low. Everybody was doing good. Everybody had extra money. It was great, right? You had Obama come on, and he said that was my economy. That's the under Trump. That was because of me. And I'm like, well, nothing like taking credit for everything, right? All of them kill me. All these politicians kill me. Nobody will ever accept personal responsibility. Hey, I screwed up. Hey, how did that withdrawal out of Afghanistan go? Oh, that was Trump's fault. Really? He wasn't the one that did the withdrawal. Well, it was his plan. Well, if his plan was flawed, why didn't you fix his plan? Right? See, this type of stuff to me, we'll kick the can down the road. We'll blame somebody else. We're never going to say, hey, we screwed up. Yeah, we're in big trouble if Harris gets in, Tim Walz. Yeah. Oh, like I said, again, if you saw today, they're trying to make Tim Walz look like the big hunter. I don't know if you guys saw this. I was laughing so hard. He was having trouble trying to load a 12 gauge shotgun. They basically, people were saying it looked like he had never handled a shotgun before because he probably hadn't, right? But he's the one stating that he took up arms in a combat zone. Yeah, okay, well that got proved that that didn't happen either. But it is amazing. And now, so they had him out in Minnesota for pheasant season. So he's out there with all the cameras. I wonder how that went. Right, they're all out in this field, and you got what? How many people? You know, ridiculous. They're trying to get with Tim. What they're trying to get is white men, realistically, middle-aged white men, to vote for Harris. That's what they're trying to do. And he's trying to make it look like he's one of us. He's one of the people. And if I hear one more time from her, well, I come from a middle-class family and blah blah blah. You know what? I don't want to hear any of that crap. What have you done for us? You've had better than 3.5 years to do something for this country. What, you're going to fix the problems that you helped create, right? You were the border czar. That's it. You were. There's documented proof that she was the border czar. And how did that work out? Did she even go down to the border? Not now that all of a sudden she's been called out that she'd never been down to the border. Now she finally went down. But it's ridiculous. The whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. And and I'm a gun owner, and if somebody came in my house, I'm going to shoot them. And these people, they live in their gated communities with their armed security. They expect you and me to give up our guns because heaven forbid that we should be able to protect ourselves, right? Um, Absolutely crazy. Look at the border, a disaster. And who's paying for that, folks? I want you to think about that. How many billions upon billions of dollars has gone to house people, health care, give them money, give them food that streamed across our southern border over the last 3+ years, right? How much money? Could that money possibly have gone to help Americans that are dealing with an emergency situation where they've lost their homes, where their car was washed away? You know, Unbelievable, unbelievable. So, I don't. I'm hopeful that people can see through the BS. That's what I'm hopeful. No guarantees of anything. No guarantees of anything. But in the meantime, I would highly again recommend being as prepared as you can be. Food, water, supplies, ways to be able to protect yourself. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I got all these guns and I got all this ammo. Well, you can't eat it. You have your stacks of gold to the ceiling. You can't eat it. Okay. So if I got a pile of food and you don't have a pile of food and you come at me with a gold bar, I set the rate. I set the rate. You don't. You don't say, well, this is worth XYZ. I go, so what? Go take it away and get the heck out of here. Right? When you have the upper hand in a situation when it comes to bartering, you're the king, okay, or the queen, whatever the case may be. You set the market rate because you can either take it or not take it. But if you're in that situation that you're put yourself in where you're able to barter and it doesn't hurt you or the group or your family, then great, you know, and you can do very well with that. And if anything ever comes back down the road, well, now maybe you do have a pile of gold and a pile of money, but you still got plenty of food along with it. So um, that's my thing. I would rather have supplies that I can utilize in a time of an emergency than have a big pile of silver or a big pile of gold. Because, like I said, again, you can't eat it. So I can eat my preps. I got plenty. I've been doing this for a long time. And, I was having a conversation again, too. We are only crazy until something happens. Then we are the smartest person in the room because we are ready. And believe me, all those people that made fun of you, all those people that laughed at you, where do you think they're going to go when something really, really bad happens? They're going to come to you, folks. They're going to come to you because you're prepared, you're ready. Now you have to make a decision at that point. Do I help them or do I not help them? And, you know, that's how it goes. So we got 268 still. We're at 191. Let's get that up over 200. I got about 3 minutes left here of the stream. Let's see if we can get that up over 200 thumbs up, please. If you would, that would be awesome. Again, it really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. The interaction is better for the channel. So I do appreciate it for that reason. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. Um, you know, my wake up call again, Hurricane Katrina. I looked at that situation and it scared the crap out of me, scared me to death because I realized at that point we cannot rely on the government. We need to rely on ourselves. So I got started and got going with that because I wanted to be able to look my family in the eye when that time came and say, I planned ahead and I was ready to deal with whatever we needed to deal with. So, but it's just, excuse me, it's just what we got to do, you know, and it's your choice. So, yeah, Ed, being a one eyed man in the land of the blind makes you the king. Exactly. That's exactly right. I would rather be in a position of strength than coming from a position of weakness. So, you know, and again, it's like, trying to do things to help people if you can. I think that that's important. So I think that that's a good thing. That's never a bad thing. But remember, when a true SHTF event happens, no one's coming to help. You're going to be on your own. There's not going to be any rescue. So are you ready for that? And what are you doing to put yourself to be ready for that? When there is no warnings coming, the weatherman's not there no more because there is no weatherman giving you the information because there is nobody there to do it. You're going to be on your own. And I want to be able to be in that position to say, I got you. I'm here to help. And if I can, and it doesn't hurt me, my family, or my group, then I want to be able to help. If it's going to take food out of our mouth to somebody who's basically already dead, because what's one meal going to do to help somebody that don't know where the next meal's coming after that? That doesn't help. It doesn't help you, and it doesn't help them, because now they're going to go off and they're going to talk to other people, and they're going to say, "Hey, they got food and they're giving it away. What do you think that means? Then next thing you know, you got a line of people looking to do that. But if you're able to help to some degree, then I think we should, but we'll see what happens when that time comes. So you just need to be able to, if you can be in a position of strength, that's what you should do, folks. So anyway, I'm going to jump off again real quick. I will be live streaming on Wednesday, 6 o'clock for hardcore members on Wednesday, 8 o'clock for everybody else. It's the only day I'm going to be able to live stream this week coming up. So it's going to be on Wednesday. So look for that. I'll see you guys all Wednesday night. If you want to become a hardcore member to be part of the private live stream on the main page here on YouTube, you'll see the join button. You can join it. You become a hardcore member. You can join us in that private chat. It's more personal. I share more things that I don't share on here. So be safe. Have a good night, everybody. And I see we're at 206, so we got over 200, which is awesome. Be smart, guys. Be ready, because we just don't know. We just don't know. Have a great night, and I will talk to you all later. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.